like I said earlier, Michael Lister, most of us know him. He's a local celebrity. One of the things I noticed on his bio that I found on the internet, I didn't talk to him about this. I thought this was, he said he's from a small river town in northwest Florida, and I think we all know what that is. Yeah, it doesn't say Weewall, because most people looking on the internet wouldn't know what in the world that was. Even if you spell it out, Weewall, Hitchika, somebody's think you had a bad cough or something. But he says it's world famous. Weewall is world famous for the Tupelo honey. That's on his website. But I would also add, Weewall is world famous because of Michael Lister. He is well known. He has, I see different counts of how many books he's written. He'll tell you, he can probably quote that. He's a New York Times bestseller. He's won several award-winning novels in Florida. And so if you haven't checked him out, some of his stories, it's amazing. And his journey is very inspiring if you check him out. From chaplain to author, a chaplain in a prison ministry. So again, he lives here in Florida. He's written several books, many books. And we were talking earlier, he taught himself to play guitar. He started playing after Hurricane Michael and through COVID. And so we're really blessed to have him here with us. So without more ado, and I'll let him tell you the rest of the bio he wants you to know. Here's Michael Lister.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I want to talk to you today about how to have your best year yet. I'm going to tell you that what I'm trying to do this year is have my best year yet. That's my intention for this year. You said some kind things about me in the introduction, but I'm here to tell you that I'm nobody. I am I'm on a journey. I'm a seeker, just like you. Was it Ram Dass that said we're all just walking each other home? That's all I care about doing. So I'm not a guru, and I can't make you have your best life possible. And these things I say, it doesn't mean I'm practicing all of them. I just am going to try to do my best. So that's how I come to you this morning as just a fellow traveler. Nobody special, nothing, and it makes me think of this story I heard one time that this old-time preacher, he was young, but I'm saying he's in a traditional religion. He's before service, he's like getting ready, and he seems distraught, and his deacon walks up to him and said, "Preacher, what's wrong?" And the minister said, "Man, somebody stole my bicycle." And deacon said, "Oh no, oh my God, that's awful. I can't believe that happened." And it's like the deacon was hit with inspiration. He said, "I know what you need to do." He said, "Today, preach on the 10 Commandments. And when you get to thou shalt not steal, bear down on it." And he's going to be so guilty, he or she, is going to be so guilty, they're going to stand up and confess. Well, the preacher got up, and he preached his sermon, and after the service, the deacon went up to him and said, "Preacher, you didn't bear down on thou shalt not steal. What in the world happened?" And he said, "Well, I tell you, when I got to thou shalt not commit adultery, I remember where I left my bicycle." So that's how I come to you this morning. I want to give you 7 principles, 7 steps, 7 habits to have your best life. Best year. We're not even dealing with life. Best year yet. Okay? Best year yet. And this first one, I think, is the most foundational, and I think it's what all of us, especially me, including me, are not doing properly. And that is, we are not living like we are dying. We're not. Think about it. I bet most of us in here probably have a friend or know of a family member or an acquaintance that is terminally ill. Guess what? You are that friend. I am that friend. So I want to start today by saying memento mori. Remember to die. Remember that you're going to die. Remember that you are human, and everything that happens is like that. But I also want to say, what kind of idiot would have that tattooed on his arm and not live by it? And does it happen that I've seen it so much that it doesn't even register anymore? Live like we're dying. That's number one. Everything, every single thing we have, except for love, in my estimation, is finite. And every second is going by so quickly. And here I am walking around like I got all the time in the world. But I'm trying to come to you today as if this is the last time. That this is the last time I'll ever get to speak to you. This is what I would want to say. If this is the last time I ever get to see you, I hope, now I know some of you are just acquaintances, but for my loved ones, my family, I hope the last thing I ever say to you is I love you. My closest friend for many years died in 2018, right before Michael did what it did to us. And the last words we ever said to each other was I love you. And I said at his memorial, if he'd have died years before or years in the future, that still would have been the last words we ever said to each other. So that's how I want to live, knowing that this could be the last one. If this is the last time I got to make music with Aaron and Tony, it just means so much to me. It means more than I could ever say. If this is the last time I ever get to speak, those of you who showed up today to hear it, it means more than you will ever know. If I said to you that it is within your power to have your best year yet, do you believe it? Because it is. I'm not saying you'll have your easiest year. I'm not saying it'll be the happiest. I'm not saying it'll be your wealthiest, but it can be your best. Because all of those things, no matter what happens, is how we respond to them. It's not what happens in life, it's our response. Look at the greatest actors. It's not repeating lines. It is getting in a scene with someone and they're reacting. They're listening, they're watching. That's how we should approach life. I want to get the most out of every moment because I know they are finite and it could be my last. It is within your power. And I think what I'm sharing with you today is about practices and habits to make our lives the best they can possibly be. Emerson said we are always getting ready to live, but never living. I'll tell you something I've been guilty of most of my life is saving stuff. I'll get a nice new shirt and I'll save it for a special occasion. I'll get a nice guitar and I don't want to take it out of the case or out of the house, and I'm just too precious with it. I've done that with so many things and I regret every one of them. Now I'm not saying I can ever be the kind of person that's not going to take care of his shit because I am going to take care of my shit. I want to, but it needs to be used more. Life is meant to be lived. And I don't want to keep on being too precious with things. I want to use them. Adam Marshall said, you only live once, but if you live it right, once is enough. What I think our approach should be with everything in life that happens, we should say, thank you, welcome, you are my teacher. There's a lot of things that are going to happen that we don't want to happen. There's a lot of things that are going to challenge us, but every one of them is an opportunity. That Chinese character of opportunity, it includes danger inside the symbol and opportunity. Everything is a danger because we could miss it. Everything is an opportunity if we will take it for what it is and say, this is my teacher. And I'm going to tell you, life is very good with remedial lessons. And some of the things I've not learned, I keep on getting opportunities to learn them. Rumi says, this being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Treat each guest honorably. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. Number two, so number one is live like you're dying. Number two is spend some time in reflection. We're almost a 12th of the year, done with this year, but we are still at the beginning of a new year. Part of how we're going to have our best life, best year possible is reflecting on how last year went. And too many of us don't spend time in reflection. The past is the past. We don't want to look at it. We try to forget it. We try to move on. We try to deny it. Some of our most valuable lessons will come with reflection, with saying, golly, man, I could have handled that so much better. I was thinking about a few things that this morning when I was in the shower. I was thinking, man, I wish I'd have done that differently. And if I don't reflect on it, I'm not going to do it differently next time. If I don't learn from it, I'm doomed to repeat it over and over. So spend some time in reflection and evaluation. Be honest with yourself. Learn if you can. And realize that with this best year we're wanting to have, I'm wanting to have, I'm assuming you want to have, we can't start from a place where we're not. With this journey, I can have this image of myself that's a lot better than I am, but I can't, that's just an image. I can't start from there. I have to start from right where I am. Reflection helps us realize where we are. Brene Brown, in her amazing book, Atlas of the Heart, highly recommend it, says these two things. There are too many people in the world today who've decided to live disappointed rather than risking feeling disappointment. Reflect on if you're living like that. Then she also says this, the idea of no regrets doesn't mean living with courage. It means living without reflection. To live without regret is to believe we have nothing to learn, no amends to make, no new opportunity to be braver within our lives. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen, and it's not going to be pleasant, all of it. But if you reflect on it and you approach it in the right way, you can have your best year yet. Molly Wise says, when you're going along in life and something hits you out of the blue, something doesn't go according to your plan, just say, plot twist, and then go, just go with it. And I really like that. And just remember that if at first you don't succeed, maybe skydiving is not for you. The next thing I want to say, number 3, is I want you to time travel. And no, it didn't just get crazy in here. Stay with me just for a minute. Today is January 29th, 2023, correct? So I'd like for you to do a little time traveling, if you're going to have your best year yet. And I want you to do it in 2 directions. I want you to think about January 29th, 2024. Where do you want to be? What do you want to have accomplished this year? What are your goals? What matters to you? What matters most? Because if we're really dying, that's what we should be doing, is what matters most to us. 2024, today, 2024. Where do you want to be? Start there. Work backwards. What do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? How do you want to grow and evolve? How do you want your gifts to expand? What do you want your family to be? What do you want your bank account to be? What do you want your life to be? Jump there. But then I also ask you to jump back a year from today and look at January 29th, 2022, and think about what were your aspirations then? What were you thinking? What were you involved in? What did you hope would happen? And did it? And if it didn't, who's that on? Not the pastor. Not your friends, not your family. Guess who it's on? Yourself. Yes, that's right. You're exactly right, young lady. On me. Do a little time travel. Question. Envision what you want to be a year from now, but look at what happened where you were last year and what you did with this year. The past is prologue. And if we don't reflect on it, if we don't learn from it, we're doomed to repeat it. Dale Carnegie said, remember, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. How much of our life is wasted worrying about tomorrow? Number 4, create intentions. If you jump forward a year from now and you say, if I have my best life possible, it's going to include these things. If I have my best year, it's going to include these things. Figure out what those are and create your intentions from them. And then I want to encourage you to write them down. Don't just have vague ideas, notions, write them down. Even possibly consider a word or a phrase or a song to be your theme for this year. I've decided that my word for this year is awareness. I'm living too much of my life unaware. The amazing music producer Rick Rubin has a new book out on creativity. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. I think it's called The Creative Act. And in it, he talks about awareness. And he's in a situation and he closes his eyes and he begins to describe everything he's hearing and feeling. He's so present right there in that moment. And then someone walks up and he's taken out of it. I want my awareness to increase this year, and I want every moment to be as aware as I possibly can. Think about what your purpose is. What is your why? Why are you here? What are you meant to do? You have to know that. You have to. If you don't, nobody else does, and nobody can tell you. The purpose of life is not to be happy, Emerson said, is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. Write down your goals, write down your mission, and like every good company that's doing good in the world, everybody in that organization knows the mission, knows the values, knows the goals, and they can tell you how the task they're doing relates to those things. What I'm doing here right now relates to my mission, relates to my goals. What I did with Tony and Aaron relates to my mission, relates to my goals. And I get invitations, and I get opportunities that are outside of that. And I have to say no thank you. And learning how to say no is one of the best things we can do. That's not for me, this is. I'm going to go, you have to know that. When you're setting your goals, use the SMART method. Be specific, make them measurable, actionable, relevant, and timely, or time-bound. Be specific. Lily Tomlin said, I always wanted to be somebody, but now I realize I should have been more specific. Two things happen when you write them down. And if you're taking notes this morning, you're way ahead of the game. If you have journaling, highly recommend journaling. You're doing next level stuff. Writing things down, this is from experts. This is not from me, from experts. Writing things down happens on two levels: external storage and encoding. External storage, you're storing the information contained in your goal in a location. You know how many fantastic ideas I've had in the middle of the night and said I'll remember them in the morning? Write them down. Encoding is the biological process by which things we perceive travel to our brain's hippocampus, where they're analyzed. From there, the decisions are made about what gets stored in our long-term memory and, in turn, what gets discarded. Writing improves that encoding process. How will I know what I think until I see what I write?
Amen.
Now, I showed you some ink I have. Another one that I'm not going to take my shirt off. Don't get concerned. Says, it's Latin, but it means spoken words fly away, written words remain. Write it down. Get some paper and pen and start writing down these things. Neuropsychologists have identified the generation effect, which basically says individuals demonstrate better memory for material they've generated themselves than for material they've merely read. That means this morning, I have a distinct advantage over you because I generated this. Whatever your thing is, generate it, write it, share it. It'll become so much more yours and you'll be able to live by it. That's how we have our best year yet. Number 5, and this may be, never mind. I was going to say it may be the most important, but they're all important, and probably living like we're dying is the most important. But this one is right up there. Truly, truly important. Number 5, develop daily practices or habits. Okay, so just forget everything I've said and don't try to have your best year yet. Just try to have your best day yet. And if you'll do that every day, guess what's going to happen? Today is all we have. It's all that matters. Habits, routines, rituals. Yeah, listen, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what image you project. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is what are we doing? What are we doing every single day? People look at those books, and you mentioned how many I have, and I don't even know. I don't even know how many books I have out. But I know I have close to 40 novels, or I may have over, I'm right under. I have no idea. But people say, how in the world? You're so prolific. How? That's not even all that prolific. But I write nearly every day, and for 28 years, I've written nearly every day. And I have, as part of my goals for this year, is to write some novels. I have other goals too, I'll share with you in a minute. But as far as those novels go, I can't write them in a day. I can't write them in a single writing session. All I can write is perhaps a scene at a time, maybe 1,000, 15 words, maybe 3,000 words. If I get 3,000 words a day, I'm a happy, happy person. What if I wrote 1 page a day? What if you wrote 1 page a day? End of the year, you'd have a book. That's how it works. Let's say, and I'm not channeling spirits, but let me just say, I bet you there's some of you in here that would like to lose a few pounds to be in better shape, to use your gifts more. If you have 15 pounds to lose, you can't lose 15 pounds. That's not possible. But you can lose some ounces at a time. You can change your diet. You can add some exercise. You can do whatever it takes, but it's going to be in small steps. Confucius says the man who moves mountains begins by carrying away small stones. Break things down and do it daily. Develop spiritual, social, intellectual practices that are daily. That's what matters. When I write a novel, I often think about, I forget who said it, but a novelist way back when said that writing a novel is very similar to driving cross country at night. All you can see is what your headlights are showing you. But that's enough. Because if you follow those, you're going to get across country. You'll arrive at your destination. When you're thinking about your big destinations, your goals, your mission, all those lofty things, if you can forget about those and say, what can I do today? Today is what matters, and how that relates to that, that's all that matters. I can't lose 15 pounds today. I can't write a novel today. I can't change everything about myself today. But I can make small moves, Ellie. Remember that? Small moves make all the difference. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Lao Tzu said that, and he's a pretty wise son of a gun. So, let me tell you about a couple of my goals for this year. I want to write at least 1 song a month. I want to write 4 books, so that'd be about 1 book a quarter. And I want to read at least 1 book a week. You know what that means? That means today I need to read a 7th of a book. That means today I need to write a 30th of a song. And I need to write 1 1/16 of my novel. That's it. That's how it works. Now, if I don't do that every day, I'm going to get to the end of the year and say, where are my songs? Where's my book? Where'd my life go? Our lives are in the daily practices, in those habits. That's what matters. Number 6, this is also important, and I think we don't do enough of this, especially in the modern world, in the times we're living, is make connections. We need to be connected to each other. If you want your best year yet, it's going to involve connection. It's going to involve being with people. I mentioned my dear, dear friends and family that are here that mean so much to me. That connection, we had a wonderful time at Amy's birthday party last night. Just a week or so ago, Aaron and Tony and I hung out, and Vanessa and I had an incredible Zoom meeting this week where she helped me so much. The 3 of them have a movie night where they over Zoom with other people. Connection. We are social beings. We need connection. The mass shooters you see, guess how much connection they have? 0. There are wounded, hurting people who need connection. And we could be the difference in their lives if we would just be willing to connect. Connection. When you're in jail, a good friend will be trying to bail you out. That's the kind of connection I'm talking about. But there's a deeper level, because a best friend will be in the cell next to you saying, damn, that was fun. Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So choose wisely. Consider your company. You need to connect, but you need to be connecting with the right people. You determine who you spend time with, and that is online and off. And you determine how much time. Choose carefully. Try to find people who are wanting to grow like you, wanting to evolve, wanting to use their gifts and talents. Find people who are walking in the same direction as you are, because one of the most difficult things we can ever do is try to be connected to someone who's going in a different direction than us. It does not work. Choose wisely. Rumi said, ignore those that make you fearful and sad and degrade you back toward disease and death. Number 7, if you're going to have your best year yet, you've got to become the best manager you can be, because you are the sole manager of your life. It is a gift. It's a responsibility that's been placed in your hands that you get to manage. Part of this comes, I do a talk on Mondays called Meaning Mondays. You're welcome to join us. It's via Zoom. It's noon on Mondays. Some people eat their lunch and hang out. It's 40 minutes, 12 o'clock Mondays. You can go to my website, michaelworcester.com, and sign up. You'll get an email. Part of what I spoke about this past week was this. I was thinking about the things I'm trying to learn, and the things I'm trying to grow and evolve in. And I got to thinking that these are the same things I was working on 20 and 30 and 40 years ago. And I think, as honest as I can be, I've seen growth in every area, or nearly every area. But they haven't gone away. My strengths are still my strengths. My weaknesses are still my weaknesses. And there's a lot of interaction between those two. And every weakness I have has strengths, and every strength I have has weaknesses. But I'm just a manager of them. And so I'm dealing with the same stuff I've always dealt with, and we're fool ourselves if we think we're going to get rid of stuff. I have a quiddity. That's my whatness. I have a core. I have a personality. I'm not suddenly going to become an extrovert. I'm an introvert. You say, how can an introvert be comfortable and speak to so many people and play music? It has nothing to do with that. Introverts are charged by time alone. Extroverts are charged by people, by being around people. At its most basic. That's knowing who we are and what we are matters. And going with that. Become the manager. I was thinking about the efficacy of AA and NA. These programs work better, I think, than anything we've ever discovered. And part of it is the people in them say, I am a recovering alcoholic. Not recovered. Not that I can pretend like that's not a part of me anymore, or I'm still dealing with it, and I need your help to deal with it. That goes a little bit back to the previous one I said about connection. Rumi said, the wound is the place where the light gets in us. Our vulnerability is how others get into us. I mentioned Zooming with Vanessa this week. I've had incredible conversations with my sister, dealing with things that are wounds, that are defects, that are things I'm dealing with, issues, whatever. When you expose that and you invite people in and say, I need your help, you'll have a connection like it's not even possible otherwise. We put on the exterior and the facade and everything's fine, I have no needs, then there's no connection. Open yourself up to connection. Manage yourself like the AA, NA. It's an ongoing activity. Yesterday, Rumi said I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise. I'm changing myself. Manage every resource, every strength, everything you have. You're just a manager. And guess what? Soon you will die. Let's go back to the first one. Soon you will die, and all that stuff is gone. All the stuff we think matters so much, it's gone. I've been collecting books for, 40 years or 30-something years, and I've begun to start selling some of my collection because I don't want to leave all that for them to deal with. But remember I told you how precious I was with my stuff? I have glass fronted shelves that my signed first editions are in, and at a certain point, and there's nothing wrong with collecting. These two guys make their living with collectors, and I've been a collector for a long time. But at a certain point, I realized I'd rather have a reading copy. I'd rather have a copy I can make notes in or mess up and get the most out of than this pristine copy that I will never read behind glass. Manage what you have. Finally, I'm going to end with this. How you got to figure this out for you, but how will I know if this is my best year yet? Did I daily grow and improve and become a better version of myself? Did I do my daily practices and fulfill my mission and purpose daily, in small ways, daily? Did I develop my gifts and did I share them? Self-help, self-improvement's wonderful, but it's not an end unto itself. We should take it and share. And then going back to AA, one of the things they say is it's our responsibility to take this message to the world. It's our responsibility to sponsor people and help people. Develop your gifts, invest in them, but then share them. Share them freely. Did I manage myself and my resources well? Did I in some way make the world a better place for others? Thank you all so much for having me today.